All right, welcome everybody to the next match we've got on our docket here. It's WillardJBradley versus azder. You just heard my voice a little while ago. I'm Sabatender. I'm now in the booth, and I'm joined by my good buddy Shireen. Shireen, how you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm feeling pretty good, I guess.
Well, we got another race coming up. I think this one is also a 6-6, from what I heard.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun. We'll see there's a lot of different options that can come out of here. Like, as you know, a lot of variants. Just your last seed, you saw, finishing with different items, different key pieces to kind of make this seed work.
Yeah, definitely. That's what 6-6 kind of brings to the table. Is it does give you some options as to which crystal dungeons you want to tackle. So hopefully we'll see some route divergence here. I think we have a little bit of an issue with azder's stream just for the first minute or so of the race. So we're just going to follow along with WillardJBradley for the first little bit, and hopefully azder's stream will pop up soon enough. So this is game 2 for these guys. As you can see in the on the left side there, WillardJBradley took the first game, and we're underway. He's starting off at Sanctuary.
Finding a key, and he's saving and quitting. I don't know if he normally does that. He finds a key. I know some people like to go sink to the forest. Some people like to uncle.
Mm-hmm.
There's some bombs, which, that's a big thing of going to Link's house if you do make your way.
Okay, so Pendant Hera, Pendant Eastern Palace, green pendant over there, and a 5-6 at.
Pretty colorful light world.
Yeah, definitely. Some uncle to start here.
Yeah. And some money. Always like to see big 20s from the tree. Basically, if you play the trees, you can get money for the whole seed without even getting a rupee drop.
Yeah, especially in the early game when the seed might be a little bit stingy. Yeah, anywhere you can score some cash is definitely good stuff. Ooh, more bombs.
And I think you're going to see him right now go get another 80 rupees. And he was trying not to get hit there. And we see azder's screen popping up a little bit by Blind's hut.
So probably took the Sanctuary right over to Kakariko to start here. Looks like we're all synced up again, more or less here.
Yeah.
Cool. Got some new checks to look at.
I speculate from azder's rupee count. And he finds the pearl and some bombs in Blind's hut.
Shield and some more money.
And
okay.
Some money. So
cool.
we got a solid start so far for an open. Very solid start. There's a flute.
Yeah. Definitely nice to have that movement quickly in a seed here. Able to get down to South Shore real quick, over to like Ice Rod Cave, which is a check that's pretty far out of the way there.
And you're gonna see now Willard, without barely any chests, he's already up to half of his Zora money, bombs from the bush crabs.
Wow, and hookshot in the, what's this place called? The Well. Oh, so we're getting a couple good items here. I mean, that with our flute, that also gives us access to East Death Mountain. You might want to hold off on heading over there right away, but it does give us the option.
Willard getting a little blocked there by that bush crab. azder making a good trade with the bottle vendor, getting 200 profit there. So there's a lot of money in CAC along with the tree pulls. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, definitely.
No one's going to have any issues with Zora today. And I bet Willard's gonna have fun when he sees these 300 drops.
Yeah, dude's gonna feel bad about all the grinding he's done so far. I mean, hey, more money the better. If we need to go to Zora early on here, but he's gonna feel like he wasted a bit of time already.
Yeah, and it usually feels great because you spend, 5 seconds here, 5 seconds here, and then you look at it and you're like, okay, I spent 30 seconds now, and there's no poverty here.
Definitely not.
But this is nice. You can get a quick South Shore. You can one cycle the dam with that hook shot.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice opening bit here, and hopefully, kind of the next checks that we see start to give us an indication as to where we want to start going. Because these items, I mean, we've got East Death Mountain, but that is really the only thing at this point that's kind of like hinting at being a thing.
As they're gonna scout out race game here.
Yeah, a lot of the early game is just doing checks. You're knocking things off your list.
Yeah, and you're gonna see more and more people being cautious about the early game because, when you have, for example, like the mountain in the situation we have it now, it's never good to start a seed on a bad foot. So people are always going to have their little routine.
Yeah, and you don't really like to. Yeah, you don't really like to break from that too often. Unless something's really calling out to you. So you're going to do all of these kind of standard issue checks first, and you're also kind of hoping for like maybe the hammer to show up or something. So then you can then get over to Hera from when you do go over to the mountain. Even though Hera is a pendant in this seed, it is a couple more items that you might be able to dig out.
Definitely. A lot of magics in those mini Moldorms. And a sword.
Cool, cool. Bottle for the sick kid. Might be a little while before you go back for that. Although with the flute, it's a pretty quick little check.
Yeah, whenever you do decide to go to the mountain, if you're one who's like thinking about your menu, whenever you do decide to go to the mountain and you already have your flute out, you just take a trip to 3. You don't even have to menu to your bottle, and then you take the trip to 1. So
yeah,
having the flute definitely makes this fine as far as the fetch quests go in the early game. I'm curious to see if anyone's going to use their rupees early and do their flipper checks.
Yeah, you do see a lot of fake flipper play, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of these two guys decides to take a look in the Zora area, especially with the Moon Pearl. That means you can get into Waterfall Ferry as well, so a couple of bonus checks as well if you do decide to break with the logic.
Yeah, and we know breaking logic can be very rewarding and very punishing. It can have a lot of outcomes.
So azder is staying away from the mountain still. He's hanging out in the eastern area now, checking out Saha's hut, and maybe he takes a look in eastern. I don't know if I would, but could happen.
We also now, with the sword, have the option of escape on the table, and we know azder, at least I think, has not been over to Uncle yet, so that could be an option as he does both of those. Getting some hearts.
Yeah, up to 7 hearts already. That's pretty good.
We'll see if Willard gets some full magic here. There it is. And azder is going to the mountain now. Although he's not taking the old man.
I think I'm okay with that. I mean, you've got the flute, so if you want to go back up to the mountain, you can always get up there real quick. But And maybe he's thinking a little bit about logic and is like, I don't have the lamp yet, so what's the deal? I don't know. Could be. Ooh, Willard is giving us some fake flipper action here.
Yeah, and I was thinking, you know, he clearly was farming up rupees, and he might feel better about this had he not gotten the 300s that he did, but clearly, you know, it was definitely on his mind.
It's one of those things, like, I spent all of this time farming rupees. I'm gonna use them some.
Wow, a glove, and there's a big piece right there. That's our second of 3 Dark World pieces.
That's a pretty spicy find.
All right, Azder gonna get us many checks now. I think it's pretty bold to go over here without doing the old man already. I mean, you know, going to this area, you know, Spiral Cave, it's really a pain to come back if you don't, you know, have a mirror, you know, boots, a lot of those routing tools. And you know, I'm confident our runners know every dark room in and out.
Wow, Zora paying out. He's got a fire rod.
Was that a fire rod?
Sure was.
So that's a piece that can definitely help us with Hera, Skullwoods early on. Azder missing that bomb jump. He's going to exit and just walk up, I think.
Yeah, seems likely. Seeing as you've already come over all this way, you're definitely gonna check out Spiral Cave. You don't want to have orphan that location.
And Willard's going to turn in his gloves, so to speak, right away. The only thing he's gotten out of here is a key so far. All right, so we know where 3 bottles are now.
Yikes. It's a lot of bottles.
He's going to go in for Dark Cross. We know the rest of the items are items in Escape. The map and the key were found. And that fire rod's also going to be very helpful here. And this is where, like, that full magic from Mini Moldorm Cave, you're just happy to have. You don't have an item that can use magic, but you pick it up anyway because you just have to anticipate these kind of things.
Yeah, most definitely.
And Azder going to get a nasty check out of the way right now for just a piece of heart.
Huh, that's too bad. You waste so much time doing Spiral Cave. Wow!
All right, so we have 2 out of logic gloves now. We have a flipper locked glove and a lamp locked glove.
Did we change the logic there where, like, fire rod is good for that? Like, you
not every room has torches, but I'm not super familiar. So that one is in logic. But the fire rod was not in logic though. He doesn't have flippers or a glove to get the fire rod.
Oh yeah. All right. So we got to find it. There's some
the
of
fire
the
rod. The fire rod was locked by the glove.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Well, Azure is giving us a check that we haven't seen yet, so there could be one of the pieces here. Either the lamp or the flippers could turn up at this spot.
So Azder's doing a lot going on here, but not Escape. He hasn't touched Escape or Eastern. We still have Sick Kid on the table. Willard has Dark World access, but he has no idea what this seed wants him to do yet. So now that we know that the second glove was locked by the fire rod, it kind of might tell us that, hey, right, we're going to find flippers here, and flippers leads us to our first glove. And the fire rod, and the fire rod leads us to our second glove, right? Because the flippers would kind of put every piece together. And then you got a nice Mitts for Dark World access seed, everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
All right, so we know there's nothing too fancy on the mountain here.
So yeah, it looks like Eastern might be the play for the, like, in logic progression.
Yeah, and being that both of our gloves now, I mean, once again, we haven't found the lamp, so can't say for sure. But if azder does find, let's say, the flippers in here, being that he has the flute, he's not going to be missing too much at all. Willard did not net the hammer before coming up here, so he's going to essentially be doing the same route as azder did on the mountain. So there's not going to be any... I mean, he is going to get to Dark Death Mountain now. He is going to get Dark Death Mountain.
So he's got that going for him. Huh, just bombs in the first chest. That's too bad. You know, like, if I'm looking for one piece that's going to kind of crack the seed open, and I always want it to be in the first chest of Eastern Palace. I really, if it's, you know, I can't complete it at the time, I don't want to have to dive the whole thing. Yeah.
All right, Willard getting his third bottle. Azder just finding a map. And yeah, if our flippers are the next piece, then this is all going to kind of overlap very quickly, this routing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Oh my god. One more location in logic here.
All right, so this room is not in logic. Once again, we still don't know how that fire rod comes into play. We have the front of escape. We have sick kid. Aquino was checked.
Alrighty, so Willard giving us a couple of checks here on Dark. Oh, and our first map check here. Pendant in Misery Mire, and 5-6 is. We're getting a peek at Super Bunny here.
Okay, so that lamp being further out of logic, this is gonna be flippers. Because yeah, now we know it can't be an Agaseed. Both gloves were there. It has to be flippers to open up your dark world. Wow. Quake, bow. Now this is where you got to make some decisions because, you know, when you don't have a hammer, things can get inefficient and orphaned really quickly. And this is where I think following the logic can come into play a lot more because, you know, there's a lot of stuff on the table.
Yeah, agreed.
And there's the flippers. There it is for azder. Sick kid coming up with nothing. So Willard is going to go into the dark world. I think by this point he should know that the flippers basically have to be an escape. He hasn't done Eastern, but if he keeps that piece of logic in his mind, that can definitely help later on, but obviously it's very easy to lose track of that.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of figured out where where the flippers likely are, but he's just kind of trucking ahead and taking care of some dungeons while he can. Alrighty, so into Skullwoods here. Makes sense. It's a 5/6 crystal, and we've got our fire. Seems like a pretty good play to go for. Fighter Sword Moth isn't a lot of fun, but with red mail and enough hearts there, Willard's definitely good enough to get through the fight, no problem.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a super difficult fight to survive, but without a hammer, it's going to take a lot of hits, or if he keeps his magic conservative, that'll definitely help. All right, so Azder now is going to get his glove, his fire rod, and it's going to lead him to his second glove.
Yeah, most definitely. So he's not really too far behind, and he's got the Eastern Palace checks taken care of as well. So that's something that Willard might end up dipping a little later on in the seed, depending on how things kind of go. Especially with that bow, he might be thinking that Eastern's got a little bit more value. So
Not sure whether Azder is going to opt to go back to the mountain. We know that it will net him if he does Quake, bow, lamp, but I think he probably would be pretty eager to go into the Dark World at this point, instead of potentially dipping the mountain many times. I don't believe we've seen Mire area, right?
No, we haven't yet. That's a quick couple of checks there.
And with a sword, a hook shot, a medallion, there's...
And we've already seen that Turtle Rock is Ether, so I mean, I don't know, maybe Misery Mire is Quake. It'd be kind of a interesting dive to make at this point if you wanted to, get the two items out of Mire there, seeing as it's a pendant, but it could happen. Might be a big brain play.
Willard taking some damage here. Red mail not helping against the... He used the spikes. That's gonna make it quicker. And it's boss time for him. He's got 3 keys. Azder is going to get his mitts now, and we're gonna see where he heads to.
I feel like a village start is pretty likely. He's going to want to get into the Dark World. So, shouldn't be too far behind Willard at this point.
Yeah, and once again, he's done the front of escape. He's done Eastern. So these are both lengthy checks that, definitely will get him back time, should Willard do them later. And that green goo is going to help very much speed things up.
Yeah, I mean, Fighter Sword just takes forever with Moculus. So just, you got tons of money, so if you need to ever replenish your potions, then go for it. But you don't want to drag this fight out too long.
All right, so Azder is going to go to the Mire area. He's going to give us this quick check as Willard takes down the Moth for a big 20. We get our first dungeon on the board, 2250. And we have an ether for Mire as well, so there's your double ether.
Okay, Mire Shed coming up with just a couple of dud items there, so nothing really going on. And a medallion requirement that we don't have any access to, so probably not going to be over the Mire area anytime soon.
It's kind of nice to not have to go to Mire 20 minutes in, no?
Yeah.
All right, so now Asder is going to choose to do the old man. And this is where I think, you've done almost all of the light world. You've done Mire area now. Finish off the one check that doesn't necessarily take so long so that you can be confident in your skips going forward. You don't want to full clear everything except one location, and then that's the one spot. So,
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna spy the ledge here, Cape Ledge, Bumper Ledge, Bumper Ledge. Let's call it Bumper Ledge.
Got some more cash over there.
So it feels like Willard's, making his way slowly through the Dark World here, going up to check out the Bumper Ledge there, just wanting to have as much knowledge as possible. Seeing as we still are midst access into the Dark World, you've started here in the village. You want to be thorough as you go through. I can see why it makes sense, especially with a game in hand. He's up 1-0 in this series right now, so not necessarily needing to take any huge risks, just kind of playing it safe.
And yeah, Asder's going to be following him. He's going to have his bow. He's going to have his lamp. He's going to have his quake. Nothing that he can go over to pod, but I think right now making your loop around the Dark World, potentially getting a hammer and being able to finish pod.
Yeah, it would be a pretty interesting play to go for pod without the hammer at this point. I think it's probably going to turn up, Thieves Town here, very likely, or what we call it, Hype Cave.
Very hype.
Very hype. I really think it's about time we change the name. Hype Cave has been the antithesis of hype for so long.
Alrighty. Let's see how far this Thieves Town dip is going to go. And as they're starting at the mountain cave and pulling out a flute,
just wanted the health refill from the old man, I guess, before, yeah. Okay, cool. This all makes sense.
So this front of Thieves not offering very much.
Ooh, it looks like Willard is going to walk out here. Runners don't like to finish off this dungeon, especially when the first floor comes up kind of empty like that. You're, playing with fire that there might be something in the big chest. So a lot of runners will nope out.
And usually you'll see someone death warp here, but, with red mail, Willard is just going to take the scenic route and exit out of there.
Yeah, definitely.
So Willard's going to give us a look now at Dig Game, and one big choice here is picking up the Smith. Willard doesn't have flippers, not that necessarily that's going to influence him going over, but picking up the Smith kind of commits you to coming back to Kakariko a few times, especially when you don't have the mirror.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough call to make. You can take Jeremiah on the world tour if you like, but you are kind of committing to returning to CAC, which doesn't always seem like a good idea, especially if you find some piece of progression and you're saddled with this guy kicking around behind you.
And Willard could not escape the text box there by Dig Game. So he is going to go grab the Smith and take him down. May decide with whatever tools he gets to let Kiki take over, but Because he can still go over there and splash delete his way over to pod, no?
He should be able to, yeah.
Because he's got to know the flippers are sitting somewhere, so.
Yeah, he definitely knows. He's got to have, some kind of idea as to where they are right now. So, yeah, he might go for a splash delete, knowing that it would be in logic technically.
Alrighty, so azder now is heading to the back of Skullwoods. He's going to kill Mothula, get his big 20, follow down in Outcasts. A lot of what we've seen already.
I mean, yeah, so far the seed has felt fairly linear, so it's not a surprise that Azder's done a couple extra checks in the light world, and now in the dark world he's a little bit behind right now, but there's still plenty of time for this one to open up again. I am disappointed by the lack of chest turns.
A very hype cave, obviously.
Yeah.
With that was like 10 rupees and some garbage. But yeah, azder has his time well spent, even if checks have come up empty, if your opponent does them, that's all that matters. And the front of escape, which has flippers, which Willard doesn't necessarily need, but it does block one crystal completely and one as a sequence break. So the front of escape and the eastern dip, that's minutes of time. So that is something that if Willard goes back and does, azder is going to get the time back. So he's not behind. He just has done other stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing he did that may have lost him time is double dipping the mountain.
Mm-hmm. That was a little bit costly, but in the grand scheme of things, it probably will even itself out a little bit with some check here that
Willard's going to make his Meyer check now. And you got your other bow over there. Not accessible.
Nice.
Azder not having a fun time with Moth right now.
Gets through it, but yeah, that's what can happen in a fighter sword Mothula. It drags out, and then the spikes get a little bit more vicious. Yeah, it can be not a lot of fun, but he got through no problem in the end.
Little stutter there, but he can't get into Meyer. There's nothing much he can do there. So now he's going to have to decide if he wants to go check escape to see what's going on, or if he wants to go back into the dark world. Did Willard do Saha's closet?
Ooh, yes? I feel like he did. Well, maybe not. Now I'm doubting myself. I think he did.
You think he did? Looking at his hearts, I think he did, but, once again, he could right now be going into Eastern and then combo Saha's with the green pendant turn-in. Yeah, Chad is saying he did not, and Willard is playing pretty efficiently right now, so it wouldn't surprise me if he was doing Eastern to combo into the turn-in.
Yeah, this is really solid routing. If he, Chat's not usually wrong, so yeah, this is good on Willard's part to grab that green pendant when you go visit Saha. It's one more item.
And when Willard does not find the flippers here, then he's going to know it's escape, and then that's where it's like, ugh. He'll find it in the first chests if he goes there, and then it's like, the seed's starting to get pretty nasty.
Yeah, we've got like a fair amount of things, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're fully into like the middle game or like middle late game kind of where you can start to see which crystals you're going to want to hit. We're a little bit unsure of where we want to go.
Yeah, I mean, you can go over to pod area by the pyramid and catfish. Ice Palace, everyone's favorite, is there. If Ether somehow shows up, you have Meyer. There's a lot of not completable checks but they're checked still. There's plenty to do, but none of it's very efficient.
Yeah, you're gonna have to just like bite the bullet and dive a dungeon that maybe you can't finish.
And you have the Back of Thieves also with, I think it's 3 items back there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one of those items might end up in the big chest, but like, I mean, I would go for it. I know I'm kind of weird that way. I always will go for Thieves Town, even if I don't have the hammer, and just pray that that big chest doesn't have anything. I bet it doesn't have anything today.
Well, we will find out potentially when we have the hammer, because we know Willard already dipped out, and Azder as well. So Azder's gonna finish this little tour over here, and then he can swim on over to Pod. Willard's gonna give us a new look now at taking on Armos and the Green Pendant.
Yeah, I think if Azder goes to Pod next, then based on what we've seen on Willard's side of things, like he's not really finding anything major. Pod could be a really good play, and one that Azder's going to do. You know, if he does go for it right now, he'll be ahead of.
Yeah, and when you're talking about long tours, right? You know, when you go from Hype Cave and swim over to Pod, if Willard doesn't have boots and he's got to walk all the way around and make that play, that's, you know, a time equalizer from, say, Azder doing the mountain twice. So,
Yeah.
you know, full clearing that light world and getting the flippers. This is where the logic kind of starts to play a role. How early is the logic going to bite you? Is it early enough that you get punished, or is it late enough that you get other utility to make it quicker? You know, if Willard would have gotten a mirror, you know, he may have played this very differently and did Eastern and the Pyramid with escape and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't have that option all the time. And there's our last item out of Eastern, the 10 arrows. And he's preparing to go over to Saha's right now. And Azder is exiting out of Hype Cave. We will see now what he is doing.
Looks like he's going to be going for a swim.
Yes, he is. Now, this green pendant can be very important right now. Okay, that is an item.
It's not nothing, for sure.
It is not nothing.
I mean, with this being a 6/6, swords could be skipped. So, you know, especially a green pendant one. Like, I don't mean, Azder's probably not going to want to do that one, having already dipped.
He's done all of Eastern. Although he knows there is 2 items there, right? Because Armos had an item and the green pendant, so it can be a semi-quick 2 items. You know, especially with the way the hammer hunt is going, it's possible that he gets back to it before, say, Ice Palace. But
yeah,
I mean, it's a sword. We don't have clarity on what that's going to lead our runners to.
I'm thinking if he digs mirror out of Pod right here, then he might, you know, flip back to Eastern Palace and then finish that off.
And
that
now
might
Willard,
be his best chance.
Yeah, and now Willard has done everything but that front of escape. So now he knows where his flippers are. We got a blue cane.
All right. So Spike Cave enters into the logic.
We need that hammer, Sabo.
Oh, yeah. You know, I always forget that, yeah.
I more forget Spike Cave when you don't have a glove.
Oh, nice.
All right, so Willard heading back to the Dark World. He did not get his flippers. So this is interesting now, because I think he's going to go to the Back of Thieves now. Like, he doesn't want to do escape. This is an escape push-off. And this is going to get interesting now, because now we're seeing what pod holds. And even if it's not pod, once again, Ice Palace also, although he can do that without the flippers. The question is, how long is he going to put off escape?
Yeah, it's a pretty big push at this point. Is he thinking like he might luck into access to Desert Palace, and then he would route it in with like the big bomb or something?
And the flippers are the first chests. It's the first chest. It's right there.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, some more fun death warping here. It's not going well.
Yeah, you got your red mail, but these spikes will always deal trap damage, which is 1 heart. Alright, so as they're gonna get to deeper into pod, we're gonna check the attic for us.
This is all new and exciting stuff.
Tied up at 11 hearts apiece.
Can kind of give you a slight indication as to, you know, how many checks our runners have done. So, you know, on the whole, it seems like they're pretty close in that regard. Oh. So it really feels like Hammer. Is it going to be Hammer that's going to pop off here? Well,
Boots.
All right, that's
There's
cool.
some boots. Okay. That's a nice item. It's a fun item.
That is, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like having boots over your opponent adds up. You know, immediately starting when you grab them. So the longer Willard goes without, the more time Azder can kind of make up on him.
And the walk over to pod is that's where I'm looking and like, ugh, because now you're either walking all the way across the north side, you know, that takes time. It can take a minute and change to get over there, and just because he didn't have his flippers his first time around.
Yeah.
And committing to the splash delete there would have been pretty bold, considering, you know, Eastern was on the table. You know, it makes sense. All right.
Pretty
Blinds
good blind
down.
there.
Just some bombs. Is there an item left there? I've not been good about counting.
Neither have I.
All right. Azder gets the item out of Hellway. So there was an item in Hellway and Vanilla Big Key.
We're getting down to it here in pod. Just a couple chests left to go.
All right, and the purple chest is now going to be turned in. And we got a mushroom in pod.
Fetch.
And that's a map.
All right, so boots and the mushroom, that's 3 checks for us. And then the library's already been checked, so that one's not going to factor in.
Yes, and now we're going to see the purple chests, which mirrorless purple chests, that's also a game changer. Just a piece of heart.
Okay, so is Meyer a play now that we have to make? Yikes.
Oh man. Normally when you have your hammer hunt, it's like you have an uncompletable pod, you have an uncompletable ice. Now you got a nice uncompletable Meyer. That's also There's just so much now. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
That is
better.
nice. All right, so this pod play is very significant. We've gotten now 2 of the 3 biggest routing tools in the boots in the mirror. And we're going to check the mushroom now as well. And Willard is now going to get his flippers at last.
He's been sitting here in the front the entire time, and he's probably known that for a little while, but he was just trying to get around them for as long as possible, I think, and now it's just like, nah, I need these things.
And now Asder is going to head into the mire area, and he has desert access with that mirror. He's got desert, he has checkerboard, and then Misery Mire itself.
I mean, desert will then be 5/6, which is not nothing.
Yeah.
Opening up a little bit for him here.
That's the other 5/6, right? They have their first one already.
That is correct. Yeah, Skull Woods.
All the options are coming into play now. And also that mirror is huge also because Willard just did a mirrorless Smith chain. Asder, when going back there, is going to have it for, when he does, let's say, the Back of Thieves and Smiths.
Yeah, so if he does do Smiths, it's a guaranteed time save for him over Willard there.
Alright, desert.
I already saw a lousy piece of heart on the torch there, so something in the big chest or on the Landmo themselves. As they're going to go right for the boss, hopefully that's the item. It's a pretty decent little gamble to make. Might save yourself a couple of seconds checking that big chest.
I just... Looking at it now, Asder's going to have Skull and Desert done, and the hammer would open potentially a go mode for him because he can do Ice, Thieves, Pod, and Swamp.
Ice, Thieves, Pod,
and
yeah.
So is Hammer going to? Hammer potentially can be a go mode, a caneless go mode.
Yeah,
and then the sword that on Green Pendant comes into play. So this is very interesting. And now Willard, he doesn't have that mirror or boots, but he is going to have to make that play pretty soon, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely running out of locations, so he's not going to have any options. But yeah, the sooner he gets to pod, the sooner he gets back on track.
And a cape, which we know is nothing significant. And it looks like on Willard's side, he did Hobo. Apparently that was not done before. That was our 4th bottle.
Wow.
And is he going to go into Ice now?
Wow. Okay. Well, this is a play. I mean, like, there's a lot of options still, places where this hammer can be. This is one of them.
And a hammer in Ice, once again, would lead him to be able to full clear pod. So he'll be able to save a lot of time fluting over to 5 and just going straight into pod. So this is definitely the right play, I guess, from our perspective.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. From what he knows, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't fault him for this one.
And chat pointing out, apparently Asder did not pick up the silvers on Desert Ledge. So being at Fighter Sword, he also does not have silvers. And that's interesting. He's done with Desert, so he doesn't have to go back. There's no reason why he would skip that.
Okay, what's he doing now?
I think he didn't scout it at all when he fluted over there.
Ah.
He went straight into the portal. I know Willard did like a double take. He fluted over there, jumped off the ledge, and then fluted back. Alright, so Willard is going to go now into the depths of Ice. Asder's going to repeat some checks in Thieves.
Yeah, you've been holding out on Thieves Town for this long, trying to dip the dungeon or finish the dungeon without, skipping that big chest. But at this point, it's just sitting right there. It's a crystal. Knock it out. And maybe you get lucky and the hammer's been hanging out here the whole time.
Yeah, and thinking about it, obviously, you need a sword. But if you're saying, hey, I'm a hammer from getting my 6 to get into GT, I don't need Thieves Town big chests. It doesn't have the item I need to get the GT. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make these gambles because I just need a sword. And this is where 6-6 really is like, whoa, because you're not gonna have Cane, you're not gonna have Ice Rod, and you could still be in go mode.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, if it came down to it, if you're just going to rush GT without Cane of Samaria, I think it's like a decent play. Like, I mean, if you're going to get into GT much sooner, hope for the best that it's on.
And a small key for Willard, which that is very nice for a hammerless Ice Palace. Definitely is going to help. But yeah, Azder being on Fighter Sword, not getting those silvers, is definitely going to come into play.
Yeah, that's a tough skip to make there. I think definitely just like a forgetfulness that was a check you could do while you were there.
Yeah, and you're thinking about, he's done pod, but you're thinking about ice. You're thinking about these isolated mirror checks that you've done the tour already. There's a lot to think about here. And you have now also the big bomb.
Yeah, I think big bomb is not a bad option. Just the way this seed has gone.
He did get the cape on Lenmolas, so that is now technically Aga in logic, right? Having your lamp, cape, and fighter sword. So I know the big bomb logic. I believe that still requires Aga. There's no, bomb duping, any of that shenanigans. But the big bomb is a play. Ice is a play. So there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but it looks like ice is unfortunately not our play today. Willard not finding much of anything. So that's a little bit of time lost.
Yeah.
He's got to get to pot.
Definitely. He's going to get his boots, his mirror, his Burna, his ether. And all this walking, this is where it feels the worst. You've already been here now 4 times, 5 times, because you've done mirrorless smiths. You've come over to Skull. This is where it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And now Azder taking over the Crystal lead 3-2. Willard already did Thieves earlier. Being that now both of them ended up skipping Thieves at first and going back a second time without the hammer. So they're both orphaning that big chest. So that's going to be on both sides. Azder already gone to pod. Already went to the desert area. Willard has already now done an ice dip. He's done he's exhausted almost all of his options now.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get Catfish, which I don't think we've seen yet. So one more new piece, and then he's probably going to route down to pod after this.
And he has the Pyramid on his way as well.
Yep.
Azder's now going to do the Smith Chain. Obviously more efficient, but nonetheless, it's going to come up empty, which will give Willard some time to make his way into pod.
This is really just turning into a last location fiesta here.
Interestingly enough, that mirror opened up the powder on top of Spectacle Rock. So that mirror for Magic Bat. Oh, there it is. There's the hammer.
Wow.
There you go. That is probably the best thing Willard could have found now.
Yeah,
like
no
that
doubt.
single location. Because now pod he can get to efficiently. Now he can do pod. That is huge.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad for Asder because he's already done like North Dark World and the boots check. Like he's gonna have to, Gold Glove from the village into the Dark World, and then hoof it all the way over to Catfish for that check.
He didn't.
And like no one wants to do that.
He didn't do Pyramid either, or I don't think he did Hobo either. So
Okay,
there's a
of things that
couple
might get
things
him.
you can kind of make efficient. But Willard is going to go straight back into ice, which is interesting. He's still not going to pod. Wow. This doesn't make sense in my brain, but you could finish it off. You've already dipped it halfway.
Yeah, it's on your brain, and you were just in here. You're like, I just want this thing done. I can maybe see it, but yeah, I agree with you. I think my first thought would have been like, all right, it's pod time.
Now, what I don't want to see from Asder's side is I don't want to see him now go back and do Mirror for Magic Bat, because now that's when Asder's going to now go to Outcast 5 times. But with that hammer, that's like I said, that's a game changer. There's Pyramid Fairy, there's Misery Mire. There's a lot Asder can do before going over to Catfish. Now, Willard still has his catching up to do, but he can do pod on his first dip. He can finish off the boss. He's going to go over to Desert and do that as well.
Yeah, he's kind of on the road to getting it done, and Asder is ahead, kind of technically, but it's going to quickly evaporate if he doesn't get down to.
When Willard does go over there and gets his mirror, and this does get interesting though, because when he gets his mirror and when he gets his boots, right? He has to get his boots because that's how this chain goes. When he gets his boots and then his mirror, that's when you can start to be in, say, GT mode.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, we don't have a cane. We're still and Asder still has time. Willard hasn't touched pod. Desert, Asder has a little bit of time, but like you said, with the amount of checks he has, this can change very quickly. Time is starting to move fast now.
Yeah, most definitely.
And he's busy doing pendants.
Yeah. Yikes. I think we could see him take a peek in Mire before doing Catfish. I mean, he needs the cane to get through that dungeon, but I mean, he might be thinking that cane is in there at this point.
Fluting to 5. Is he going back into Eastern?
Ooh.
Okay, so this is going to be a nice 2 minutes. He's going to get the sword, which we know he's not going to get silvers, so at least maybe he'll get tempered. Honestly, if the sword's going to save him from Master Sword Silverless, doing this investment for 2 items, not going to have a huge effect in the grand scheme of things.
But maybe just enough. maybe it kind of evens out. Not any time lost or gained.
But this is where, and I forgot to mention this earlier, the Big Bomb, if you do the bomb dupe, you can do Big Bomb, Pyramid, and Catfish together. That's another way to get to Catfish. And, Big Bomb having the hammer that's a special case. So I could see that being done as well. And if he makes his way over there, he'll definitely still be in it. Willard now gonna take out Cold Stare. Asder gonna head towards Armos.
Pretty good hammer from Willard here. Low on health, but I think he's got a goo if he needs to. But it's looking really good so far. Alrighty, we're back to tied up 3 crystals apiece.
And is Willard going to head over to Pod?
Never.
He doesn't have the mirror, so he can't go to Swamp. He can't push off Pod.
Like, he's gotta go for it now. He's gotta.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is. He's got plenty of money for Kiki. The play is happening.
Alrighty, so yeah, Willard's definitely on the right track here. He's closing in on being pretty much GT Go mode. So.
All right, Azder. What's it gonna be?
I don't even think he knows.
4? Ice Palace?
Yeah. Oh.
He didn't flute to... Okay, Hobo? Hobo.
Yeah, okay.
If he goes to Ice Palace, this is gonna be a big blow to his chances.
Yeah. Man, but there's just not a lot of appeal in that catfish check, I don't think, for him. Just really, he's not feeling it, and I don't blame him. It's
the only way catfish gets checked is if you say, hey, I want to commit to Big Bomb right now. And once you're over there, you do the pyramid and catfish. You know, you're not going to go there for catfish, but you have some reasons to go there. And I think he's going to Meyer.
Okay.
What? Oh! Change of heart? Ice Palace? Oh, no! All right.
I mean, you can feel the frustration, you know, when you're second guessing yourself in moments like that. Like it's just so frustrating. You're like, you can't decide which of these awful dungeons you want to dip.
And the window also closes on Pyramid Fairy, right? Because Desert usually you kind of want to priority things that are on your path, right? And Desert, you know, was a while ago. He had the pyramid open a while ago. If he chose, hey, I'm going to go to the pyramid now, right after you do Desert, that's where, you know, you're most likely to do it. But now it's like, hey, I could have done this 30 minutes ago. Meyer Ice, you know, let's do that.
And it is a bummer because you can get right down to the bottom of Ice Palace. You can all the way to Ice Tea, looking for stuff in this one, and like it just eats up so much time.
I mean, the only thing I'm thinking right now that can turn this, assuming he goes to Meyer after this, is if he can, you know, find a nice vanilla cane over there. That can be a piece that can pull him back. And once again, cane being required for GT is not such a rare thing.
No, I mean, not at all. Yeah, there's, you know, five items over there.
Oh, this Ice Palace play hurts.
It really does.
At least he's gonna get the small key, like Willard did, and get to do it semi-efficiently.
Yeah, Willard picking up the boots there, so now he's going fast. Gonna keep making up time here.
Well, at least we know TR is dead, right?
Yeah, it's pretty dead at this point. I mean, if azder goes to Meyer and the 2 items in Meyer are Cane of Samaria and Ice Rod,
he won't have the hammer though. He doesn't have the hammer.
Oh, right, we're still missing the hammer.
So Azder has no choice. Hammer is basically his go mode.
I mean, I guess the only upside is it is the hammer that's locking him, you know, blocking him from finishing, basically. So he will be locked out of a lot of places, I guess.
Yeah. And it's very unfortunate when you have the hammer lottery, and instead of the incompletable pod, ice palace, mire, or pyramid fairy, it's like, I'm gonna be on catfish right over here. You know.
Yeah, just taunting our runners. It's so rude.
And the Zora area coming up big today, having the hammer, the fire rod, and a glove.
Yeah, that's big value over there.
All right. Asder's out. What's it gonna be? Is Meyer now the play?
Well,
Here we go. Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. He's going back over here. So what looked like a Meyer Ice Palace decision, now, you know, after Ice Palace, he's not feeling Meyer. So this, I mean, it's still going to be a long trek for him. He's still going to have to walk all the way down to Big Bomb if he's going to do this trek. Now, alternatively, he might skip Big Bomb and just go to Catfish because he has Graveyard Ledge, right?
Yep.
So, oh, where's he going? Is he going down? I think he is. I think it's doing it. He's doing the thing?
Nope. He's
No?
reconsidering the thing.
At the end of the day, if he gets the hammer, that's all that matters. So whether it's efficient or not, we know what he needs.
Yeah, it looks like he is kind of he's heading this way, which is good. He's gonna head over to Catfish after this Graveyard Ledge check for sure.
Now Willard is still gonna have to do his boots checks to get his mirror. Not a given, but you know, he still has a little bit to go before go mode is on the table. Or should we say gamble mode?
Yeah.
GT mode, whatever you want to call it.
GT mode maybe, because this one is seeds where you might be heading for GT with question mark as to whether you can complete it or not.
All I know is I don't want to see the Kane in Ganon's Tower. I don't like when items are in GT like that. I just
because it would mean that TR was completely unbeatable. It wasn't going to be required for entry into GT, which is a bummer.
And it just feels like any time it's not, let's say, a 7-7. If it's in all dungeons or a 6-6, there's a progression piece in Ganon's Tower. So Azer's gonna get his hammer, and it's faster than if he were to do Pyramid Fairy. So this is actually going to be to his advantage. Now, should Kane be required, he's gonna be in the Willard boat where he hadn't done Mire or Pyramid Fairy.
Right.
He now has his work cut out for him. He has Desert ahead of Willard, but now he's behind a Go Mode Ice and the boss of Pod, which is now probably a net of 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes maybe? And there's a tempered.
Oh, nice.
There's a tempered.
He's also going back to Ice Palace. This re-dipping of Ice Palace thing is pretty funny.
But he's in actual GT mode. Willard still needs to get his mirror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Azder's just on a roll right now. I mean, it's just funny that Ice Palace was the first thought.
Does Azder have? Sorry to cut you off, but he mirrored and went straight to Ice Palace. He has very little magic, and he has no bombos or anything. So, go moding here is, I mean, you can do it with half a bar of magic if you do, sword beam or bow strats to get those double splats on Cold Stare. But, coming in here without magic, it's almost like I would be like, go to Pod, get it done, get your magic refill. Like, why does no one like Pod?
Yeah, I mean, and he's also got a Swamp Palace open to him, So, like, you also have another dungeon you could do. but hopefully, I mean, there's a couple of magic drops he can pick up along the way. You know, some of the enemies might be dropping them. There's one in one of these pots here. He's not gonna pick it up, you know, that's cool.
Willard's gonna head over now to his boots checks. So here we go. We're gonna see how he handles this. Is he gonna take this mirror and not check Bog Rocks? I don't know.
I mean, for him, I think he can definitely see the finish line. You know, I mean, it's Desert Palace, it's Swamp Palace. Let's get these done.
Definitely. And that's it. He's not gonna check it. He's doing it. He's got his tempered. He's got 6 crystals. Alrighty, Azder going in here. He doesn't have magic. I really hope this doesn't become a problem.
I mean,
he's got enough
small keys to get into the side room down at the bottom there. So he might get close to a full bar by then. It's gonna be close. I don't know how much magic he's gonna have.
Oh, what's he doing? Does he have the green goo yet? I know Willard used it. I don't think he did.
Maybe he's got it. We gotta hope that he does. You know, for this thing to be interesting, I would hate to see him.
He's gonna do sword beam strats? No, he has it. He's fine. Okay.
We good.
Yeah. Had to figure he had some solution, whether or not it was using that key. See, he's doing the sword beam strats there. And you see, with 4 shots, the shell is down.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's what I thought he was going for at first. Alrighty. Azder now. Pretty quick. But now 4 crystals also. Your finish line is Pod and Swamp.
I think I like Willard's dungeons better.
Swamp and Desert.
Yeah, those are pretty quick. I mean, but
he's also already in Swamp.
Yeah, Pod's been already cleaned out, so you know you're just going to the boss, which isn't too bad.
I want to see the panic now if the cane is lurking about. Because with Willard still having, you know, say Graveyard Ledge and a few of the boots checks and mirror checks, Azder's only behind a couple minutes, and this is gonna get interesting. I mean,
yeah.
Cane or not, the only problem I could see without the cane is that your GT routing is forced, so there's not gonna be divergence there. But it looks like Azder is just basically that double dip into ice difference right now. No, I know Willard did it as well, but that hammer, man.
Yeah, that hammer was
perfect placement nasty. For Willard.
Yeah.
Who knows how long he would have pushed off Pod. Even after he got the hammer, he still pushed it off.
We're getting those puffed pretty quickly. They're looking pretty.
Alrighty. Azder going towards his 5th. Willard acquiring his 5th. He's going to head over Desert. We'll see. He should be grabbing those silvers as well.
Oh yeah, that could make a really big difference.
Good thing Azder, we know he's going to get tempered, so silvers will become more of just a minor time save at this point.
Yeah.
No, you know, low percent vitreous no Master Sword Silverless, so
Yeah.
and there's the silvers for Willard.
Yeah. Yeah, nice little pickup there.
Alrighty. This is moving quick now. Oh
Yeah.
boy, this has picked up the pace. Azder now just has to finish off Swamp. Willard's going to be finishing off Desert, so we're going to see 3 to 4 minutes. A little bit behind on Azder's side. Maybe a little less.
Yeah, 6-6 is it's pretty nuts. I don't see with the cane missing in action though. It's really kind of forced our runner's hand to do these 6 particular dungeons. But
this is where 6-6 gets deceiving, because you think, oh, it's 6-6. There's going to be a lot more going on, but this seed was pretty brutal in how it forced your way. You know, the times aren't, you know, showing that it's super slow, but you were forced. The logic in the light world for those flippers and the way the hammer was laid out, it was pretty brutal.
Absolutely, yeah, I would totally agree there. I mean, yeah, it's we're 1:15 in at this point, but for our runners, it's probably felt like a marathon. You know, some of those item locations were so brutal that, yeah, absolutely, it still feels pretty bad. You feel like you're behind the entire way.
Definitely. Yeah, the hammer lottery could feel like eternity.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that, you know, Willard not grabbing those flippers, he, you know, catfish for quite a while, and then Azder getting to them actually much further into the seed than Willard, definitely feeling bad about that. So both runners probably a little bit, you know, nervous that they didn't, you know, big the play over to catfish sooner.
Yeah, and we had, you know, the early fire rods, so your routing was Skullwoods down, so there never really was an opportunity of starting Thieves, then go to Skull, then kind of dip out of the front and head over to Catfish Pod, right? Like sometimes when you have the flippers, you'll do that. You'll kind of route a little bit around. But because we started at Skull, there was really no reason to do some North Dark World, right? We routed down. So if you were to go to Pod, you were going to do it from the south. So Catfish was never really a big play, except for Willard, who didn't have the flippers at the time. So when he did get the flippers and he went back to the Dark World, the quickest way to Pod was to go on the north route.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Whereas Azder immediately went to Pod from the south road. That's where the catfish discrepancy comes into play, right? Following the logic of the flippers. You know, minor difference, yet at once which we thought was gonna give Azder a massive lead. Then when Willard found the hammer, it's like, oh, there you go. And now Willard is going to be heading to Ganon's Tower after checking this out real quick.
Just trying to make sure that he's picking up a pot while you're here, and just making sure that mushroom wasn't the cane or something. A good little quick safe check to make. Yeah, so people put numbers in the chat already. I think the bot is up and running again. Big key guessing game, one of our favorite things here. Where is this GT big key going to be? Shreen, where the heck is it going to be, man?
I think it's going to be Stalfos room. I mean, honestly, at this point, we're going to see our runners take similar routes, so I want to see a cane block here. I want to see them have to go scavenge out some of their orphaned overworld. You know, Willard not having the mirror, doing bonk rocks. You know, he took that mirror and immediately went to his mode. You know, Azder, neither of our runners touched Meyer, so...
Yeah, so there would be a couple of options for our runners to dig. if it's not in GT. I don't know. It feels like it's probably that Kane is probably in GT, and it might be the key is on the right side, but we'll find the Kane on the way, and so it'll be no big deal.
Maybe we'll take a page out of your series with the Saban and have a Kane and Meyer.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Love me some Kane and Meyer.
So as Willard is getting to GT, Azder's finishing his 6th boss, so not super far behind, but with the way GT is going to be aligned, he's not going to have a lot of room to make up, go right, go left.
Yeah, you can't really, focus on the GT route and making a big difference here. Alrighty, here we go. Gonna check out Hope Room first here. Gonna hope for the GT Dream here.
Good stuff.
Definitely locked out of the right side there. Okay.
Got a small key on the torch. Always useful.
Alrighty, up into Stalfos room here. More small keys.
Wow, and there you go.
Yeah, that seems about right.
That's pretty kind. He's got 4 smalls and a big going up the gauntlet.
So what chest was that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow.
And unfortunately for Azder, he's going to be behind, close to 3 minutes entering GT. He also did not pick up his silvers, which is not going to do him any favors.
Yeah, might be a bit of a tough road ahead for him to try and catch up. Alrighty, so our winner for the big key guessing game was Castian B. Good job, good job.
So Willard going in with 4 hearts. I think he's got bottles galore full of everything.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 reds and some greens or something.
I know he stopped by the witch also, so.
Yeah, he loaded up on goo there for sure.
All right, Azder is entering. Just gonna get the heart container here and move on. But now he is winning the hearts race.
This is a important category to be ahead in.
Very.
Alrighty, so not a bad gauntlet from Willard there. Could have been a little bit better. I'm sure he made a couple little errors that he would like to take back, especially when you're closing in on that finish line. Every little bit counts.
2-0 on the line.
Yeah, that'd be really nice to finish it off that way.
And no Kane for this room. I forgot what it looks like.
Yeah, right?
I mean, in entrance, you see that some more, but Azder's now going to be heading up. Willard now going into Wizard Robes 2 as Azder is starting his climb. All I know is whenever I try to use the bow in that room, it always hits the spike. The spike is always in like the perfect spot.
Just blocks you. Alrighty, up into the next torch room with enough magic to fire rod all 4 torches. That's always feels good.
Nothing to see here in Mini Helmasaur Room. Just the finish in sight. Willard also did not pick up the powder, it doesn't look like. There was really no need to. He did not head over to the Hera area. That was another thing that was another thing that Azder did when he got the mirror. He went back up to the mountain.
Man, take any one of those those plays away, and this is like a neck and neck fight. You know, that Hera play, that first dip into ice. You know, one of those would have made all the difference here.
And you look back over the course of the race, and you just see the moment switch. You know, Willard goes into the Dark World 4 minutes ahead, and Azder's done Eastern and Escape, and you're like, oh, okay, so there's a nice lead here. You see that the flippers really do come into play, and Azder's already got his mirror, and Willard hasn't gone to pod nor got his hammer. And then all of a sudden, you see that effect of the hammer and how it shifts gears yet again.
Yeah.
You know, a seed's never over until you're go mode. And Willard doing a solid job there.
Very nice, yeah. It's made for a really interesting race. There's been a lot of back and forth. So even though it's a little bit, it looks like we're closing in on the finale here. Yeah, really kind of fun to call this one and see kind of what our runners do differently. There's a lot of divergence that we witnessed.
Alrighty. Azder at 1 heart? Okay, he's alive. We're good. Willard getting a clean, looks like a 1-1 here.
Yeah, nothing too fancy going on with this Ganon fight here. Pretty by the book. And look at that, we're already in phase 4. I hate when Ganon like teleports as far away as he can from.
Right?
So rude.
2 hits in. Azder getting to Moldorm too. And I think... Oh, he got it as the torch went out, and that's hit number 4. He's standing a little high up there.
Yeah.
You know, you stand too high and the cutscene doesn't start, and you're starting to be like, you know, it's happened.
Alrighty, well, put your GGs in the chat for WillardJBradley. He's going to take this series 2-0 over Azder here. Finishes with an official SRL time of 1:26.41. GG's, man. Good job.
Yeah, and it blows my mind that it's a 1:26 because this seed felt long. There were, you know, like you said, it's been a ride.
Yeah, for something that was sub 1:30. Yeah, it felt pretty rough.
But then you look back and it's like, with the way 6-6 works, Meyer and TR are both essentially pendants, right?
Yeah. And hey, it looks like we're joined by WillardJBradley. GG's, man. Good job.
Hey, thanks.
So, opening
what
thoughts.
I think of that scene? Let's see. No.
Yeah.
Dude, what a wild opening. The fake flipper to Waterfall Cave to get Glove, then immediately Fire Rod, then Back of Escape to immediately get Mitts and Dark Cross. I'm like, okay, it's 12 minutes in, and I already have Dark World access. Extremely out of logic. What do I do now?
Right.
It was very interesting, and of course, you know, once I got the lamp up on Death Mountain, I'm like, all right, I know where the flippers can and cannot be. I know I'm going to need them eventually, but you know, let's go ahead and do some Dark World stuff. Who knows how the way the seed's going to play out? In which, you know, with 6-6. Swamp might be skippable, etc., etc. And
right.
I was feeling good at the start, and then as the spots started dwindling and I still wasn't really finding much progression, I was thinking, oh boy, great. And I was trying to like do Dark World and then do the light world stuff, and then do more dark world, and because like you don't want to put off all those light world checks early, and last location the flippers kind of felt bad, and then doing Ice Palace after Hobo immediately felt horrible. So at that point, I felt like I was losing. I was talking to Azder after he finished up, and it seems like he did similar stuff as me, aside from a few extra things like dipping pod without hammer, which is a bummer. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it gave him some good stuff to work with, but that was a point where you were putting off pod for forever, and we just assumed that you were waiting to be able to full clear it. Did you know where those flippers were? Did you kind of like suss out where they had to be? Because we were waiting for you to get back there, and you were also putting that off for a little bit. But we figured it was because you knew where they were, and you would just get them eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I knew they had to be in the light world somewhere, like early in Eastern or Ice Frog Cave, Agona's Cave, some of these one-offs, and doing all of Eastern felt bad. Even with the sword, I'm like, that's great. Assuming that all the other swords are somewhere stupid. But yeah, as soon as I got that lamp up on Death Mountain, I was like, okay, flippers led to glove and fire rod. When that fire rod technically led to the mitts, and then the mitts led to the lamp. So it's easy to put the pieces together.
And
Right.
Azder just took down Ganon on the restream here.
Coming across the line with an official SRL time of 1:30:09. Hopefully, we'll get him in here for a little chat as well.
Yeah, those flippers, we constantly were talking about the effect that they had, and once you saw the glove, the fire on the glove, and all that, and you're kind of piecing it together, it's like the time at which you picked up your flippers obviously hurt, but routing to pod, I'm assuming that was your intention. Although it seemed like you were staying away from pod as long as you could, even when you did get the hammer.
Yeah, because I
going to
just
pod from the north, going to pod from the north as opposed to the south. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, I know where flippers have to be, but what do they do for me? They open up Hobo, Ice Palace, East Dark World. Like, these are still not great options anyway. So, like, in the back of my head when I was doing Village of Outcasts, doing Dark World, I was like, I should really just, like, do the bomb jump over to Catfish or something, and then go Pyramid Pod or something like that. And I was going to after the second time I went and finished these down, but then I had the purple chest, so I was like, well, I guess I'll do that instead. GG's Azder.
Hey, GG.
Yeah, we're welcoming Azder into the chat here. I guess for Azder here, a couple of things just didn't quite fall the right way. I mean, that darn hammer. The chat was talking about you calling out Catfish as going to be your undoing, and it turns out it might have been.
I did. Sometimes I hate being right.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, well, we had to go to Zora and get Fire Rod, and okay, that's that troll out of the way, right? Like, well, the chances they're both gonna have something.
Yeah, I mean that part of the world was just loaded today, which is weird. A little bit of PRNG, I guess, because I had a there for me in my race today, so it was a hot spot, kind of. And it was rough because both you guys definitely put that off for quite a while, as you would, because it's such a gross location to go to. But it really swung the race back towards Willard because he got it just a little bit sooner.
Oh yeah, with the flippers location, I was kind of anticipating that maybe Azder would have gotten them sooner than me, and then might have swam up to do Pyramid Pod after doing Hype Cave, which I don't know if you checked Pyramid first, but ended up being somewhat correct. So I guess in that sense, I'm kind of glad I didn't get flippers sooner, because I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I got flippers too soon for that. That was because I was staying in logic.
It's like routing to Catfish, you want to do either with the mirror so you can check like Graveyard Ledge and then go over, or with the Pyramid Fairy route that way, or just never at all. That's always a good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Pyramid Fairy was like a place I could have searched for hammer. Like there were so many gross options for me.
Yeah.
Like let's see, I was listing them off earlier. Okay, so there was what was it? There was Bat without hammer. There was Incompletable Pendant Mire. There was Crystal Ice, which I can't finish. There was Graveyard Ledge, Catfish. There was Pyramid Fairy.
All of them are so bad. I hate all of those options.
This seed
Oh, yeah,
tells
there
you
was First
everything.
Chest and Swamp. I forgot about that one. Like, what do you do? What are you supposed to do?
It's when it comes to these, like I would happily take hammer for Dark World Access every time, because anytime I get myths first, I'm like, oh, okay, where's this hammer gonna be? Where's this freaking hammer gonna
Exactly.
be? It's gonna be somewhere stupid. And when all I had left was Pod, Catfish, and Pyramid, I'm like, I'm gonna lose a race because of Pod. Because every time I talk about Pod, it's like, if I lose a race, it's because there's something in Pod and I do it last. And then when I saw those boots in there, I was like, oh no, I'm sure Azder went to Catfish early and then has these boots. So now he's had boots for like 20 minutes before me, and that's just adding up. So
I was thinking of routing Catfish to Pod instead of like Village of Outcasts Hype Cave to Pod. But I was just like, no, there's just way more checks, way more opportunities for me to find the hammer going the other way. So I didn't do it.
Yeah.
The thing
Right.
you could have also done, like if you had picked up the frog, I guess you could have, after Hype Cave, swam down to the portal and went straight to Catfish, but that's really stupid. So I don't know who would do that.
I didn't want to do that because I was planning on going to Pod for sure.
Yeah.
So
Because, I mean, that's the thing, is if you commit to that, then it's like, oh, well, now walking down to Pod is another thing. It's just
Right.
it just adds up.
But
Yeah.
especially when you have the fire rod, and you take Skull Woods out, so there's nothing really on the north.
Oh,
you've
yeah,
gone
and I
through
didn't have,
Outcasts.
sorry, I didn't have mirror. So I was thinking like, well, maybe I could go that way, but it'd be stupid to isolate Graveyard Ledge even more.
Yeah, so Shireen and I were saying that this one, even though the times are, pretty decent, I guess, we thought that it really felt like a slog. Did it feel that way for you guys running it?
Yeah, this was. I don't normally mind late boots, but for some reason, just like the way that this seed went, I think it was the nature of the walking that I wanted you to do, like walk all the way to Pod. And I
Yeah.
found the boots. I was just like, this is a bad bootless seed. This is the bad seed to not have boots
Mhm.
early.
Azder, I have a question for you.
Oh no.
How close were you to going into Mire when you fluted over there before ice?
I was pretty close, and then I was like, well, if I'm making dumb plays, then let's see. I'm still missing a sword. Was I missing? No, I don't remember. I might have gotten MS from Saha already, but I just like, okay, well, if Hammer is in Mire, that'd be great, but it'd probably work out better for me if I could finish Mire, and there's still like the idea of Samaria being required for right side GT, so let's screw around a little more before going into Mire. Maybe I'll find Samaria, and
Right.
maybe that will walk the hammer. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I made great
really glad
decisions,
I-
but like,
There's no right decision when it's myths for Dark World access. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'm just really glad that my routing got me go mode at King's Doom, and I never got that ether, because then I never would have had to even consider any of that stuff you have to consider.
I didn't even think about the fact that you might not have had that. Honestly, I was thinking more about like, oh, okay, when did he get hammer? Did he go into ice looking for it, or like did he? I don't know. Did he? I don't know.
Yeah, like
It was one of those ones where, like, yeah, there were what ifs, and you probably were, just thinking about whatever your opponent could have been doing, because there were so many options that were all gross. And yeah, I can see how that was going through your head a lot.
Also, I think both of our races had mirror and King's Tomb.
Ooh.
yeah, it did.
Fun.
Our last one had boots on Smith to get mirror at Kingston. Yep. Cool.
Nice.
Sweet.
Alrighty, well, I think I might wrap things up here. Azzer, this, unfortunately, man, is the end of the line for you. How did you feel about your tournament life these last couple of months?
It's been on life support the entire time, basically. Yeah, I had a few months where I was playing really, really strong, I think, and I was doing really well in the qualifiers too, but then I don't know, like I think I was running hot, and then I kind of lost some of my, I don't know. There's just some ways that sometimes a race or a seed can make me feel that will make me better attuned to like what plays have better EV and what plays have better like whatchamacallit, where I can get an edge more out of it compared to another person, like specifically compared to other people. And I felt like I wasn't able to pick up on that as much like the last 3 or 4 seeds that I've done.
Yeah, that's a very real thing. Yeah, for sure. You can be hot and then you can just be like completely cold and reading everything wrong. So it's just the nature of the game. Willard, you 2-0'd this one, and you're moving on, which is probably kind of exciting. You got P-Train or Top Life as your next opponent, likely after GDQ. How are you feeling about how things are going so far?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I was really worried about azder because, as he was saying, you know, he's played really hot lately, especially with like qualifiers for SG Live and qualifiers for this tourney. So getting him, I was like, no, don't give me azder, and I got azder. Thank you, Rambler. I blame you. So to get a win here and to get the 2-0 just kind of feels it feels good. Feels pretty good, and I'll be keeping an eye on my upcoming opponents. I just took out P-Train in the mystery tournament in the loser side, so you know, if I get him, you know, I don't know, maybe we'll gentlemen's to some insanity inverted swordless nonsense.
Ooh, some goofiness. All right, cool.
But yeah, either way, I'm happy that to not have to do a game 3. I can get some good streams in before AGQ and kind of just relax and have a good time, and look forward to seeing more tourney stuff when I get back. So
awesome.
Good.
Yeah, alrighty. Well, I guess let's close up shop on this one. GG's to both of our runners. Definitely give them a follow if you haven't already. They're awesome dudes in the community here, and they definitely deserve a follow. We had our tracker today, Spam Musubi, taking care of those buttons behind the scenes. Big shout out to him for doing a good job there. And my co-com, Shireen, my man, we finally did it. We did some commentary together. I had a blast hanging out with you, man.
Yeah, this was good. We got to talk a lot about a lot of interesting points, and it was a good race all around.
Alrighty, so that's gonna do it for everyone here. Have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you again.